So let me just jump in with some quick announcements before we get going. I love seeing your faces. I'm so thankful for this quarantine because it's made some of you able to show up for these calls on Wednesdays, and I love them. And it's my favorite call of the week. I love just kind of connecting with other leaders. So I'm glad that we're all here, and I'm glad that you guys have the ability to be on today. So one of the things that I just wanted to share with you guys is a new book that I'm reading. Because I'm all like right now too, there are two things sort of going on in my brain and in my life. And I like to share those things as they happen is, I'm really thankful for the situation that has come about because it's actually given me more time to work on my mindset. And it's also really challenged me to get out of management mode and really step up leadership. And some of you might be like, what are you talking about? You're always leading. But I get to a point sometimes where I'm like, but am I doing the best that I could be doing? Like, how could I be leading better? And I ask myself that question often. And so I was actually talking to Simon, the gentleman that was on our call last Wednesday, and he was like, you have to read this book. And it's a John Maxwell book, and it's Great Leaders Ask Great Questions. And I instantly downloaded that book on Audible and started listening to it. And I loved it so much that I actually went and bought it on Amazon because I thought, I need to go back and dog-ear these questions. I need to go back and reread this stuff. Like, it is so good. Because as a leader, right, there are all these things that happen as we move up the ladder. So when you're first starting out in your business, right, everything's about you. Everything's about your sales, your numbers, how many people you recruit, the Success Club points that you get. And so your whole business is very ego-centered. It's all about you. And while, yes, you're trying to help people get results, you're the one that's driving the bottom line. But as you begin to progress in the business and you're getting confident and you are starting to bring in leaders, now you have to learn to shift the focus away from your agenda to their agenda, but also kind of still knowing what your agenda is and how do you make all those moving parts come together. And that is a skill that requires a lot of effort and work. And so listening to this book there's been some aha moments about ego and leadership and questions to ask. And even right now, and as much as we study personality styles too, right? We're always studying like how this person learns, how this person is motivated, what makes this person tick. And sometimes we're asking questions that are not going to allow our leaders to open up. And I will say I'm absolutely guilty of doing that, of, dictating based on my agenda. And so it's called Great Leaders Ask Great Questions. It is by John Maxwell. And the audio is great, but I ended up buying the book too because I wanted to be able to highlight. So a lot of the things, number one, you can use it with conversations with your team, right? So asking great questions. If you network with somebody, one of the things is who do you know that I should know? Another great question is, how can I serve you? I started putting that at the end of every one of my challenge group messages to my challengers. I was like, what can I do for you? How else can I serve you? Even my coaches, I did it to you, Rachel, yesterday, and you didn't even notice. You skipped right over it and went on to your next agenda item. I'm like, what can I do for you today? And you were like, do, right? But so so I'm starting to, it's really making me think, right? And even as I'm going into calls, I'm starting to think about what questions I'm going to ask people, not what my agenda is, but how do I make sure that I am serving my people? And how am I making sure that I'm also not putting my words right into somebody else's mouth or what I think might be their challenge and just assuming that that's what they're struggling with. So it's been a great book. I've loved it. I absolutely loved it. And the other one is we just did a podcast interview with Alex Carter. She was on the National Wake Up Call, right? And so her book comes out on May 5th. This is the book. It's called Ask for More. And if you go and pre-order this book, and then you go to her website and you like submit your pre-order, you get like a free downloadable. But I think this is actually going to be a book that we are going to want to read as a team, but we're going to want to recommend this to new coaches too. This is going to become like a staple in their back pocket. And Alex talks a lot about like your ability to get what you want has much less to do with us always talking and much about us asking the right questions. So I don't know, there's like this shoulder tap, this little nudge, like everything lately has been about listen and ask the right questions. And that loop has been coming up for me over and over and over again, as I've been going through this last 30 days of just transition, has been instead of just doing, assuming, what do people need, just directing, it has been much more about asking the right questions and listening. So those are two great resources and things that maybe you're like, yeah, I need to get better at that too, okay? The other thing that I wanted to share with you this morning is on Saturday for Super Weekend. I don't know if Sam did it yet, but my assistant Sam I was asked her if she would actually make a Zoom link for our organization. And so what we're going to do is, I think Super Weekend starts at 2 p.m. Eastern is what time it starts, and then all the other time zones are listed there. So what I'm going to do, and you guys are welcome to invite your teams, or if you want to do your own thing, but I'm going to do one Zoom. And then because the way Beachbody works is there only will be 10,000 spots, right, available on that Zoom. And once it's full, they'll send it to a YouTube link. So what I'm going to do is probably snag the YouTube link, or I'll like screen share the Zoom. I think I'll have to snag it, but we're just going to play it on the screen, and then we're going to interact in the chat bar. And then once Super Weekend is over, we're going to do Q&A. Okay, we're going to like navigate through all the information. We're going to talk strategy. We're going to give input. We're just going to have a little powwow post Super Weekend. Okay, so that's the game plan for Saturday. I figured that would be a way to get us together as a community, for a way for us to just kind of be on here together. So that's the game plan. We're going to let's do some recognition. So I'm even thinking that I would love for you guys to maybe nominate somebody that's had an amazing transformation, business success story. Maybe we just have somebody pop in and do those on Saturday too. So that might be another just really cool way for us to kind of spotlight people in our team. Okay, so and then if you guys have any other recognition, like coaches that have achieved team leader or have achieved success starter, I'll put together a little Google form that you could submit your coaches for recognition. I mean, literally anything you want to recognize them for, I will put that together. And then we'll have that be a part of Saturday. I'm going to write that down now, because actually that idea came to me. It just came out of my mouth. I didn't even have that planned beforehand. So.
Tonight, as you're writing down, at Super Saturday, how you have everybody stands up for their rank. Like, yeah. What if we could even, I know that would be a lot, but what if we like wrote in like all of our Emerald coaches, all of our Diamond coaches, and we could make like, I don't know if you could have your assistant make like a slide of all their names or something. Yeah. I don't know. Just something like that, because that would light the fire up. Like, I have a lot of new Emerald coaches, and they would be like, oh my gosh, you know.
So I can we could do like, I'm pretty sure in a Google Doc, you can even upload a file too. So I'll just have like, you would put their name, their rank, and upload their image or something like that, maybe is what we'll do. Yeah, we can all clap and cheer. I like that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anything else we want to include on that? All right, Google Doc. We'll definitely do names. We'll do slides of some sort. We'll pull it up. We'll recognize them. It'll be awesome. Yes. I wonder, would you guys like to do that before the video? Like if we get on at 1:30, then we do 1:30 to 2 becomes like our time to do recognition, get everybody excited. And then from there, 2 o'clock, we stream the video. And then we just do like a quick 20-minute recap at the end, and then we're done. Okay, let's do that. Hold on. I'm just going to actually tell her that now so that she doesn't do this while we're on this call. Super Weekend. Okay. We are going to start at 1:30 with recognition, and then 2 p.m. will be the actual super weekend video. Okay, cool. Okay. Got it. Okie dokie, that's what we're doing. So that's the game plan for this weekend. That's how we're gonna roll it out. And I think it'll be awesome and so much fun. Okay, so that's all my announcements, all the things that I have to share. I, again, randomly was like, what can I do to just really help, like put coaches in front of you guys that are crushing it? And so when I was doing Monday's like recognition, I was listening in the round table. Once you're 5-star diamond, right? Beachbody adds you to the round table, which by the way, Janelle Tubbs just got added to the round table, I think just this past week. So congratulations on being added in there. And I believe Janelle went 6-star diamond, I want to say is her rank. I hope I got that right. But it was so cool to hear so many names in our organization be in the top 50. So Janelle and I are tied for number 49 in the company. There is, let's see, who else? It is Dara Rockholt is in there. Jen Guthrie was in there. Karen Buggy is in there. And Carrie Schneider is actually number 8 right now. So it's super cool. So I, really I wanted to do like a hot seat kind of a thing where we get to ask her some questions. And I wrote a list of questions and I want to give you guys an opportunity to do the same. So one of the things that I just want to give her an introduction before and Carrie, I saw you, you're on here. Let me find you. Where you be? Let me find you. Where's Carrie?
I'm over here.
Good. I gotta pin you because I feel like that's how we'll keep you on the first page. Let me find you. Okay, more. Spotlight. There you are. Hi, friend.
Hey.
All right. So Carrie is currently ranked number 8 in the company. And you ended last year as a first-time elite coach. And I remember Alyssa messaging me at the end of last year, and she was like, okay, I have this coach. Her name is Carrie, and she, I think we calculated points wrong, and she thinks, am I right in telling this story? Like, you thought you were closer than you were, and all of a sudden, it was like, oh my God, I have to get 20-some points in order to become elite in December. And you were like, I'm gonna do it. And you were just like, I don't care what I have to do. I'm gonna make it happen. And you worked so hard and you made it happen. You became an elite coach, you crushed that goal. And I believe that all of the momentum that you, not just in December, but everything you've been doing, it's not like you're an overnight success. We know you've been working hard for quite some time, but that momentum shift for you, right? All of a sudden, just that hard work, it went whoosh. And look at it. It's almost like a 3-month after December, January, February, March, and here it is. They always say 90 days from the day that you go balls to the walls is when you really see, you see things really begin to shift. And so I think it's cool because I know momentum is driving your business. I know that everything you are doing is starting to compound effect, but I also know that you are working incredibly hard right now. And the one thing that I know people always want to know is like, why, how, what are you doing? Will you share the things? And so that's kind of what we're going to do today is we're going to share the things. We're going to talk it through. And we're really going to kind of walk you through the steps, and then we'll do some questions as well. So Carrie, thank you I messaged her yesterday. I was like, you want to do this? And she was like, sure. So, okay. So let's start out by just, everybody, your why. Like that is number one, because I feel like if you don't have a solid driving force, if you kind of have a fluffy reason for coaching, like I just want to help people, you're not like really driven to make it happen when life gets hard, right? So will you kind of just share your why so we can just have some context of like who you are and what drives you?
Mm-hmm. So personally, on my end, I'm not going to bore you with my long sob story, but I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and my dad is a criminal, actually, on the news, like on the local news kind of thing. And, when I started my business, it was literally because I just didn't want to waitress anymore. I was a waitress for 12 years, and I was like, I'm just really over this. And at the time I'm like, I just want to make my grocery money. And of course I never even thought I'd be able to make my grocery money, you know, like it's never going to happen. And then as I started to make my grocery money, I realized like that I had settled and fallen into the same path as like my entire family. So like when I was growing up, it was like Christmas or like the electricity bill, you know, like my mom would like cry over bills, and like it chokes me up like talking about it. And I realized like when I started to make my grocery money, like how bad I had settled in my life. And like when I was a kid, and my dad's an addict, and when I was a kid and we would have our struggles and all that would be going on, I remember watching my mom cry, and I remember thinking like, I am never going to live this way. Like I'm never going to live paycheck to paycheck, and I'm going to take care of my mom. And then as I got older, right, you know, you're usually a product of your environment. And I fell right into that. And so when I started coaching, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to make my grocery money so I don't have to serve anymore. And then as I started making more money, like it really hit me like, oh my gosh, like that little girl who would like in the kindergarten room say like, I'm going to take care of my mom. I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to be able to take my kids to Disneyland. We're not going to drive around a clunker that, you know, stalls out on Allegheny River Boulevard, which is right where we live. And I'm like, I'm really going to do that. And as I got older, you know, life beat me up and I settled majorly. And at some point when I started making my grocery money and it started to compound, I was like, oh my gosh, I can help my mom for Christmas. I can take care of my family. I never have to worry again about money if I just literally put my head down and do this, like balls to the wall every single day. And I just kept thinking honestly about my mom crying. And I'm like, I know that would mean that how much it would mean for me to take care of her. And so that is definitely my driving force, just giving my kids a different life and kind of breaking the cycle, not only for my own family, but like my entire family, because we all have struggles, you know?
Wow. Wow. So do you, like when you close your eyes and you sort of envision success and what it looks like what is your definition of I've made it? Like, what do you visualize?
So I visualized my house, which is crazy. Like, you know, my old house was 900 square feet. And if you would see the transformation of my pre-Beachbody house to this one, I mean, it's just crazy, you know? And when I started, it was like a year ago, and I lived in a 900-foot square house that was actually crooked, that my father had purchased with drug money that I didn't know was drug money. And so, you know, I started to think like, wait a second, I feel like I can like really buy a nice house, like with an ice maker in the fridge and like a doorbell, and I can put a wreath on the front door. And I started like really thinking about it. And last month we closed on it, and it's just incredible. Like it's definitely been like a full circle moment for me to sit here. And the first thing I bought is a wreath for my door. My doorbell works, my ice maker works, like, and it's incredible, you know? And so when I closed my eyes, first of all, I envisioned this house. And now when I close my eyes, I envision my husband retiring. I envision my mom literally never have to go to work another day in her life. And I would really love to be able to donate to a rehabilitation center and hope that someday my dad uses it.
Wow. That's amazing, Carrie. Okay. When did you sign up as a coach?
September of 2019.
So it has been not that long at all. Wait, September of 2018?
18, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, wait a second. That is like not even a year ago.
Yeah.
So did you come into coaching for the business or for fitness first?
For the business, 100%. I had been using Beachbody for a while, like the programs and stuff. And so when I signed up, I did sign up to do the business, but then I like was about to back out of it because like I just wasn't really sure. I was one of those people that was like super on the fence. I just thought it was honestly, I just thought it was a scam. Like I never would have thought that I would be sitting here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
right. So, okay. So how did your coach invite you? Where did you meet your coach originally?
She was on Instagram and she was just bugging the heck out of me every day. Like, you should coach, you should coach, you should coach. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, will this lady stop? Like, I'm never going to coach. Like, does she not understand? My dad was just on the news. Like, no one's going to ever buy from me. Like, I live in the smallest town. I'm from Oakmont, Verona, Penn Hills, which is kind of close to you, but like everybody knows everybody. And so like, she's asking me to coach. Meanwhile, like I just bailed my dad out of the county. I'm like, no one's ever going to buy from me. Are you crazy? You know? Yeah. So she just kept going and going. And like, she sent me a link and I ghosted her. And then she kept sending me a link, and then like, you didn't fill the link out. You didn't fill the link out. And then I filled it out, and here
Yeah.
we are.
Okay, that is so cool. So follow up like a boss. I'm sure that sticks with you in the back of your mind, right? So you thought it was a scam. And then what was the change? What was the transition of you being like, no, this isn't a scam?
So like I said, whenever I started, like my husband, I was serving, you know, and my husband was like, you should really try that coaching thing. And I was like, John, if you say it again, I'm literally moving out. I am not coaching. You are crazy. Like, and if I would bring him down here, he would say like, we would like argue over it. I'm like, I'm just never doing it. And I was like, so afraid. And then as I started, like I said, I really wanted to just make my grocery money. So I was like, okay, that's like 3 sales a week. Right. Mm-hmm. And then when I realized I could make 3 sales a week and cover my groceries, I had a paycheck that was like $300. And like, I'll never forget it. We were at Walmart, and like we stocked up on everything, like good brand of laundry detergent, like Lucky Charms, no cheap brand of cereal around here that we're bringing in here. Like it was great. Mm-hmm. Like we stocked up on everything. And my husband, we were at the cash out, and my husband was like, I am so proud of you. And my husband's like this big tattooed meathead, you know? And I look over, and he's like about to cry in Walmart. I'm like, if you're about to cry, I'm out of here. And he's like, I am so proud of you. And I was like, wait a minute. And I went home, and like, I binge listened to Women Inspiring Women, and so do my coaches. And I remember you saying like, you wrote your why on your mirror, and I came home and I wrote on a big poster board, my family is free. I sat it in my room. I sat in the corner of my 900-foot square house, and I've worked every single day and busted my butt since, basically, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that $300 check was like that meant the world to me, you know, like that was so much money for me at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was just like incredible. It was like, oh my gosh, like we can buy all the good brand. I can stock up on all the toilet paper, like Sam's Club, here I come. Like it was great, you know? Yeah. And then at that point I realized like I went from 50 to 150 to 300. I'm like, and I can just keep doing this. Like, and I can just literally do this. And at the same time, mm-hmm. I was loving it because I literally love selling fitness packages.
Yeah.
Like I love fitness. I love the fitness side of it. And I was like having a great time, and my cup was just getting filled up every single day by getting people results.
Yeah.
So it was like on the financial side, I'm all about my money, you know, but on the other side, I was like really like being so fulfilled. Like it was just wonderful. And then it just kept going and kept going.
Yeah. Okay. So I love it because thank you for giving us your heart and sharing like the vulnerable side of your story. It really puts it into perspective, you know? And so I kind of want to dive into just your activities, because I think that, you know, I can tell by the way you speak, I can tell by the way you even did like our mini summit, like you are focused, you have a plan, and so when you were even just first starting out, right? You know, like what did you kind of structure what were the things that were must-dos? What were the things you were like, I'll get to it later? Like, what were some of the things that you were like, this definitely helped me build momentum in the beginning?
So, and I've been working a lot with Alyssa this past couple weeks, and she's really been helping me like think about like duplication. Uh-huh. Because I am and I think it's the way I was raised. I'm just like super direct. And from working at Denny's, I like trained everyone, you know, okay. And it was just like, you're going to do it. You're going to ask coffee, or you're not working here. And with coaching, right, it's their own business. So it's different. And so she's really been helping me like dive into the duplication side. And so I've really been thinking, and here's what I've come up with. So when I started, my husband had worked for a company where he worked like crazy hours, right? So I still have like limited time. Like my kids are 5 and 3. I've been in the business for 18 months. So they were even younger when I started. Mm-hmm. And they're super close in age. So when I very first started my business, I worked, first of all, the first thing I did was I invited every single person in my warm market. And I sent them an invite that just said, hey, I don't know if you've seen my post or not. Okay. I know Facebook can be weird, but I'm starting an online fitness and health group, whatever. And I'm looking for people who want to commit to their fitness goals with me. If you know somebody that this would interest, or it would interest you, can you just send them my way? And I just kind of sent a flyer out to everybody in my business. And that was like the first thing I did for like the first like 3 days. And I ended up making it wasn't like immediate sales, but after like 9 days and I kept consistently posting, I started having that warm market invite come back and like make me a little bit of money. And then I started to work on my stove timer in my kitchen. So I would like set my stove timer for like 5 minutes and I would add. And I would set my stove timer for 5 minutes and I would follow. And then I would set it for 10 minutes and I would invite. And I use that stove timer to really just be insanely intentional because I only had a minimum amount of time. And then, so that was like my must do, is just adding to my network, inviting off of first my warm market and then inviting off of my stories and posts, obviously, connecting and just adding at a really massive speed, obviously, while still being consistent in my posting. And working on that timer system for the hour or two a day really drove me forward in the beginning, 100%.
I love that.
And then as I started to see so I started to see like, holy cow, like this is like really working. I started to like 10x it. So like I would do like, I went from 1 hour a day at my table to 2 hours a day to eventually like 3 hours a day of just solid income production. I mean, and even if I had to break it up, I'm a really big pen and paper person. So eventually my little timer system that I was doing turned into like a list with a series of like check boxes so that I could have my power hours, but then like I could do like, okay, follow 100 people, fold a load of laundry, follow 100 people, do the dishes. Cause it's like, but I was in the cracks of my day with my kids and I still am.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. That is like powerful. And everybody has it flipped. Don't you think? Like a lot of times coaches have it flipped where it's like, check in with my challenge groups, answer my message threads, do this training. Then if I get time, I'll send the invites. Then if I get time, I'll do like the follow-ups. And like you totally flipped it. I think that's such a powerful point for people to understand, right? Okay. So did you always set goals for yourself as far as like how many coaches you wanted to recruit a month? Like, do you set goals for like how many Success Club points? Like, do you do that for yourself? Like, what do you track every single month to kind of pace yourself or challenge yourself?
So that's like kind of the thing. So like when I started, right, I was like, I just really want to hit Success Club 10. And then I hit 10 and I was like, all right, 20. And then I hit 20 and I'm like, all right, 30. And then like, I remember writing like SC50 on my board. I'm like, that's never going to happen. And then I hit 50, right? And so like every month it goes larger and larger. And like personally for me this past couple months, I kind of realized like, wow, I'm hitting like 50, 60 with like not even batting an eye with Success Club. So it's like, it's time to raise that bar, So then I went for 80. And then in March I had 80 and I was like, you know what? Quarantine life got me feeling like 100. And I got up on April 1st and I just, I mean, and it's fun to sell them and it's true freaking results that are amazing. And I get to come in contact with so many different people and get them just such amazing results. And so I never thought that I would even be able to get this high this soon in the month, obviously, but it's just, I think it's all about raising the bar and setting those goals. And then also like placing urgency on it. So like if I want to hit SC 100, I don't want to wait till like halfway through the month and be like, well, I'm at SC 20. Like I have been treating every day like I need to hit Success Club. So every day I wake up and I just want to hit Success Club every single day versus like every single month.
Yeah. So, and then so it sounds like you do fitness a lot. It's like challenge groups. So do you do coaching invites too? Like, do you set a goal for how many like working coaches or?
So I do. So at the beginning of my business, okay, like I said, I literally just want to make grocery money. So
yeah,
I was like just selling challenge packs, 3 challenge packs. Hey, whatever, And then, I started to realize that I needed working coaches. So I put a business post out and I got my first working coach. Her name is Olivia McKay. She's 2-star diamond qualifying right now. And and like she came out of the gate and I was like, all right, I have 1. I don't need any more. But as of most recently, like honestly, I didn't even think about recruiting until like June or July when that like whole elite group opened up that you did. And I mapped out my business like you had told us. And I'm like, wait a second, like I could really freaking do this. Like, I can really start getting these bonuses, like these quarterly bonuses. Oh my gosh. Like, and I'm thinking like, I know what they could do for my family, right? So I started setting the recruiting goals at that point. And I said, okay, I'm going to do 5 working coaches a month. And then, or no, 2, it was 2 originally. And then like, I heard a call from you say like every month you want to double that recruiting goal. So I went from like 2 to 4 to 6 to 8. And right now, I really want to aim for 10 working coaches a month, because that is my maximum capacity to ensure the success of those coaches. I don't want to go any higher than that. So right now my goal is 10 working coaches a month.
I love that. How do you serve people? Like, how do you, like, I'm trying to think about how I want to ask this question, right? So you have a lot of people, right? So even at SC 100 is 50 customers, right? And then, or it's like, you know, whatever, there's a combination. How do you kind of like serve everybody and feel like you're doing a good job, you know, in your day?
So that really stresses me out.
Okay.
But here's the thing that I've come to notice. So even with high numbers, you know, there's going to be people who come in and they're just not my people. You know, they buy a challenge pack off me. And like, I actually had a return come through this month because she's just not my people. You know, she's not ready. She's not ready for the program. She's not ready for the nutrition, and that's okay. So one thing is just accepting that with all of these people coming in, not everybody is meant to be in my way, and because of the numbers, right? It's just your ratio. However, I am extremely emotionally attached to my challengers, and I'm extremely emotionally attached to their success. And so I have a different system that is time consuming. So I don't have an email list yet, which I'm working on, and I know I need to do it. But whenever I bring a challenger on, I get them into their program. I walk them through how to get their meal plan, and I do it all via voice memo on Messenger. I have them take their pictures. I tell them to take their pictures. And then, you know, I get them all set up with like a sample meal plan, whatever, portion control guides, all set up into their program. And then they go into my group. From that point, all of my new clients, no matter how many I bring on, get checked in with 4 times a week, which is about every other day, via Messenger, not via email. Okay. So I check on them every other day. How are you doing? How's your nutrition? How's your workouts? I run contests in my group. And, you know, I feel as though as long as I'm doing my job and checking in with them, as long as like my new ones get my check-ins like 4 to 7 times a week, depending on how they're doing.
Wow. Yeah.
But my old ones get checked in with on Sundays and Wednesdays. So come month 2 at that point, this should be habitual at this point. And if you do need extra, I go live in my group and I tell them communication is key. My best clients are the ones who talk to me. I check in with you this amount of times a week. If you're struggling and not telling me, closed mouths do not get fed. I am a tough love kind of person. I love you and I want to help you, but you got to tell me. And so really just opening up that line of communication, ensuring those check-ins is huge. And then with my old clients too, still doing the Sundays and Wednesday thing. And then, you know, you have people who fall off, and then I message them probably like once every 2 weeks. Hey, just popping in and checking on you. You know, we're here whenever you're ready to jump back in. And so that's truthfully, like, I feel as though that is honestly all I could do. I provide meal plans in my groups. I'm live in my groups 3 to 4 times a week. I do so much in my groups for them that I'm comfortable with, but the emotional attachment is super hard.
Yeah, I think that's hard for all of us, because I mean, our job is so personal, right? Like we get so attached to people's stories, you know, it's hard to, but I'm like you too. I can completely relate to the tough love. And does it make you feel better to be like, I'm doing all of the things I can humanly possibly do, like the rest is up to you, you know? I think that helps me. Yes. So that is awesome. And I took tons of notes. I'm like, oh, I love the concept of hand holding them for the first month. Like, I love that. Absolutely love that, you know, and then not adding them to the group until they have meal plan, pictures, all of that stuff too. So it's like that extra account. Do you make that a requirement before you add them to the group?
I do.
Okay. I love that. That is so cool. So, okay. So good. I want to ask you coaching stuff about getting new coach. And I saw Chrysanthi just asked that question too in the comments, but so the onboarding is like, Oh my gosh, it's like our thorn in our side. I think we're always trying to improve, right? We're always trying to figure out the best system. So, best practices, what are you doing to onboard and help your people get success? Because you're not number 8 because you get SC100. You're where you are because your people are actually duplicating this. So, what's kind of your process?
So, success is not an option for the coaches that come onto my team. Whenever I onboard coaches, I let them know, like, you can come in here part-time, but tell me now, because I'm going to put a lot of time into you and I'm going to the top and I'm taking you with me if you want to come, you know? And then from that point, it is super simple. Like when I worked at Denny's, I was a server, but I trained everybody to serve, like district managers, general managers, like people that were opening up franchises. And I literally related to that in so many ways. And I didn't always, but now I do. And it's just like, okay, you're coming on. Here's one video. Tell me your takeaways. Here's the second video. Tell me your takeaways. All right, here's your launch post examples. You're going to send it to me. I'm going to proofread it. I'm going to send it back to you. After you post it, you're going to come back. Do not answer any messages or any inquiries until you come back here. And with that said, please do not be emotionally attached to your launch post. You are probably not going to get anything from that. Most people do not. They have to develop a trust with you, okay? So it can be kind of discouraging. So I want you to get ready for that. Here's your first personal development book. Let's get started. So I'm very one-to-one with my coaches. Like I literally walk them through and teach them everything. Like everything. Like, so I tell them to launch, they come back, and then I walk them through their first week of conversations. So throughout their first week, I'm like, you are not bothering me. If I'm not at my phone, I will get to my phone. You can call me on the phone. Do not answer messages until I help you walk through this conversation, right? And then it's the same thing. I walk them through my workday. I give them a script at this point. I give them a workday at this point. And then I tell them, okay, now you're going into my thread. And this is what we're going to do. I need to see you posting. And I explain the importance of consistency. Because I think setting that standard, like immediately, like I tell them, you have a Denny's open. And every day, if you don't turn your lights on, nobody's going to come in and get pancakes. So you have to make sure that you're posting, because that's how people know you're open, right? And then give them the workday, and then every day they're sending conversations. I'm checking in on them, and I'm not going to lie to you, it is truthfully a lot of work. I put a lot of time into my business, but like I want to just like explode. Like I want to be, you know, big time.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So my next question is, what personal development book do you make them read first?
So actually it just depends on the person. So like if I know, I naturally attract my people. And if I know that they're a mom, I immediately give them Women Inspiring Women.
Oh, thank you.
I do. And immediately, like it's even in my trainings, that's the first thing, boom, Women Inspiring Women. Now, I feel as though sometimes like the moms don't relate as much to the story. So I will send them the 5-second rule. I will send them Empower Her by that Cassia Fitzgerald, I think her name is, which is incredible. And then from that point, it's like every day. And my people, my moms, they freaking love Women Inspiring Women. They binge listen to it. And my non-moms, they like the Empower Her. And then sometimes we combine the two. And then I explain to them too, like that's your business development. It does help your mindset, but then I tell them like also get into something for your personality. So, you know, like John Maxwell, 5-second rule, etc.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily have a Facebook group where it's training. You don't have a website that they're going through training. It is very much like, I'm going to spoon feed you exactly what I want you to do. One-on-one message, right? That's initial.
Well, so most recently, like over the course like of the last month, as my leaders have started to really emerge, so my diamonds who want to star, I have a Facebook group open now where my series of 3 videos are located, so that my new leaders, because I realize that it's not realistic for my new leaders to do what I'm doing. And so I have to duplicate this in a way that there's going to be depth in my organization. So I opened up my Facebook group, but it's just my series of 3 videos. And then I explain to my leaders, you know, it's your job to make sure that they're First video, come back. Second video, come back. Launch post, proofread, send, walk through combos, walk through a work day, go from there.
Yeah. Okay. And then you add them, at what point do you add them to like a group message thread? Because you said you have like, is it a new coach thread that you kind of have with everybody?
So it just depends on the person and as far as like character reading. So like whenever I start to train somebody, I can tell, like, are they, you know, like you have to like know your people, right? And like there's certain people like, you know, I don't think you're really good for a pod right now. You're overwhelmed, you're discouraged, you're this, you're that. Okay, so you're not going into a pod at this very minute, but you're going to go to a pod very, very soon. So I kind of judge it by the person, you know, and then I'll say to them, are you ready for a pod? I'm going to tell you, this pod can be overwhelming because there's a lot of chatter. So what I want you to do is I want you to make sure you put it on ignore. And if there's something important in there for you to read, I will let you know. Do not get caught up in messages.
Okay. Okay. I love that. So I saw Jolie ask this question. What do you do with the people that are like talkers, right? They like say they're going to do it, but they're just not doing it.
So I definitely call them out on it 100%. And so at the beginning, you know, whenever you're onboarding coaches, I think obviously like knowing why they want this business is huge. So like, for example, I have a coach right now who she's new and she's just in this business to pay for her horses, right? So I am going to align her checklist and her media by her goal. So she's not going to be inviting 30 to 50 people a day. She only wants to make a couple extra $100 a month. So I'm not going to put that pressure on her. But I have coaches who are popping diamond in 3 weeks. And the reason why is because they want to grow a massive business. And I tell them, you want to grow a massive business, this is what you're going to have to do. So if I see somebody who comes into this business and says, I want to stay home with my kids, and I go to their social media and they have 2 posts up for the week, they're going to know about it. 100%. You only have 2 posts up. You told me you wanted to stay home with your kids. 2 posts per week is not going to get you there. You're going to need to raise the bar a little bit. And I want to see your conversations this week, and I want to see your to-do list this week. It's a lot of hand-holding and micromanaging, but I actually really like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it does really keep people accountable too. If they know you're watching, and those people that kind of need that validation too, that personal validation, or they need that, you know, that recognition, you're recognizing them by even just calling them out, even if it's like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. It is that I needed that, you know, that interaction. So, okay. What the other question is like, what are the 3 videos that you are like doing? Like I think you did mention them already, but I forget what you said.
So no, you're okay. So they're actually just videos that were on a training that like Lindsay Matway did like a giant new coach training one time. It was like last year. And it was like, the first one is a YouTube that was from, I forget who it's even from. Oh no, I forget her name, but I know her. Ashley Laughlin. She's freaking amazing, right? So she had done a call. So I just take that call, and it's just basically like a new coach call, and I pumped it in there. And then there was like another one by Jessica Jaharis, who does like a video on inviting. And so I took that and I pumped that in there, and then the script. So it was all from Lindsay Matway, essentially. Just not as much information, because I think that, and what I realized like at the beginning is that people get so lost in the like information that they forget about the action, because you could have all the information you want, but if there's no action, the information does nothing for you. So I am all about my action to just boom, boom, boom.
I love that. I really love that a lot. It's the action is so important, and just breaking it down and keeping it super simple. I love it. Okay. I curious about, this is just, you've got kids, they're little, you are mom, you're running a business that is thriving. What does your balance look like? What does your time management kind of look like? How do you feel like you're honoring all of the things that are important to you?
So lately, I won't lie to you, I've been working a lot, but like quarantine, right? Like there's literally nothing else to do, you know? So I've been really utilizing that to my advantage, knowing that whenever we are allowed to go out and whenever the weather is nice, I can really do my like whole scenario here. But whenever like, it's like a normal day. So like, there's no such thing as life and work balance. Like balance is just not even real. There's absolutely no balance. It's just boundaries. It's just those boundaries. And so I think what's really big for me is, number one, getting up early in the morning, first of all, getting my workout in, getting my PD in, really important, setting myself up for the day. And then I allow my children to watch TV and screen time until 9 o'clock, which my kids are going to survive on YouTube and they're screened till 9 o'clock. They get up around 7:30. That's an hour and a half. They have their breakfast. They play whatever on their screen time. And then at 9 o'clock, it's time to get up and get off the screen. Mm-hmm. And then so during their time where they're sitting down is when I like do my inviting and post in my challenge group, get my stories up. And then at 9 o'clock, it's usually like chill time. I will answer messages here and there. I take care of my kids, and then my kids go down for a nap around 1, and then it's like hustle mode on, like headphones in at my table, super intentional. And then when my kids get up, hustle mode off. I answer messages, and then when my husband gets home from work around 6, we eat dinner, and then it's like around like 7:30, I'm back in my room, you know, working until like 9:30, 10. And it has been late. It has been late as of recently. And there has been a lot of like, you know, a lot more work than normal, but like on a regular day when quarantine's not going on, that is my general day. It's very broken up. Mm-hmm. And just really creating that balance, like your boundary. I'm sorry, like, you know, we go for a walk in the evening. There's no reason for me to have my phone. My phone stays at home, you know, and that's really important. That's what I tell my coaches too. Like, you have to have the time management, you know, you have to be able to shut your phone off and completely detach, because it will drive me crazy if I don't.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. I know. And that is very intentional. Like that's one thing. Cause even one of the questions I wrote was like, how do you keep yourself from not burning out too? Like, cause you're having a high number of conversations. You're getting emotionally attached to the people that you're pouring into, whether they're customers or their coaches every single day, right? It is a lot. So like, what do you do for yourself to keep yourself fresh, creative, and not burned out?
So, you know, routine is huge. So like I said, getting up in the morning, going to bed on time, sticking to my own journey, like with my food, like the foods I'm putting into my body, obviously, so that I'm not like cranky and miserable, not keeping alcohol in my house at all. So that I'm not even tempted to like have a drink after the day, you know, and just really making it a point to just stick to my own journey and be my best self, because that's going to allow me to show up and serve other people as my best self. So eating right, going to bed on time, and then also to like just realizing, so like my burnout day is like Saturday, because my husband, the way that he works from like Wednesday or Thursday to Monday. He leaves here at 7 in the morning and he doesn't get home till sometimes 8 o'clock at night. So like he's off Monday night to Thursday morning. And so on Saturday, it's almost like my Thursday, which is almost my Friday. Mm-hmm. So I know that like I've been working with kids and running a 6-figure business. So on Saturday, I start to really get like antsy. And at that immediate moment, before I get frustrated with my kids, before I take it out on my husband, I shut my phone off. And at this point, I just go for a nice little drive around the neighborhood. But normally, you know, I'll go to Target, I'll do Amazon shopping, I'll go to the mall, I'll go get a coffee, like just get out of the house and just experience life that's not fitness and Beachbody.
Yeah, I love that. You're super disciplined. And that is definitely your routine, your discipline, your mindset. That leaves clues for sure. Okay. So last thing I'm going to ask you, Megan asked a question. She's like, your IG and Facebook private? Mm-hmm. So she's like, how are you inviting from there to get your numbers? I'm curious where your market is at, Facebook, Instagram, and why do you keep it private? I'm curious.
So the private thing was actually an accident. Like my husband's job, the way that it works, I just kept it private for the longest time. Yeah. And so no one could see my stuff. And then like one day Karen was like, why is your Facebook private? Like you should make it public. And I'm super stubborn. And I'm like, I'm not making it public. Like, you know, like I'm leaving it the way it is. And then like, the same with Instagram. And so it's always been that way and it just works. So I've never switched it and I've never tried to switch it. If it eventually stops working, then I'll try something else. But at this point it works. And the same thing I told you, I just add to my network. It's just super consistent every single day. no matter what. Like I always add to
Yeah.
it. And whoever comes into my profile and I accept, if they like what they see, they stay. And if they don't, they unfollow me, and that's fine too.
Super cool. I love that you do it totally different and it works incredibly well for you, because we're always like, make everything public, you know? So do you do you just kind of tell your coaches do whatever, like whatever you want to do? Or do you tell
I
them
do,
public?
because I tell them private. I tell them just keep it private. And if it doesn't work, we'll just switch it.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. Last and final question. Oh gosh, what do I want to ask you? Okay. Just getting your coaches to reach Star Diamond and like motivating your team. Like obviously people are moving. So what do you feel like is helping your people to just, is it you? Are you the driver? Are they following your momentum?
You know, and I think that as leaders, like leading by example is key. Like just showing them like, this is what's possible. This is what's working. You know, that's really big. But on top of that, right? Knowing I tell my diamonds, you are not going to start making $1,000 weeks as a diamond coach, most likely not unless you're bringing in a ton of volume, right? But I tell them, when I've noticed the most income jump is with 2-star diamond.
Yeah.
And so when diamond is not, it's a promotion and it's great and it's incredible, don't get me wrong, and I think it's awesome, but at the same time, if you want to start making the money to where you want to match your income or you want to pay off your debt, we have to up our game. Diamond is now emerald. My diamond emerald. Like you are got to star diamond. It is huge. And I really tell them, like, I create that urgency, you know, like you're diamond now. Okay. So now we're going to get this star, like the next day, like we celebrate for a day. And then like the next day we're on to star diamond. I realized that as I started, you know, the star diamonds there, it's not an easy job, but like, it's really just numbers and reverse engineering your goal. And so I just have them map it out like you showed us in the elite thing.
Yeah.
And then I say, let's just reverse engineer.
I love it. I love it. I feel like I forgot about the elite thing. I'm like, we have to do this again. I totally forgot about it. We need to go back and do that. I know. I'm like, oh, you're making me remember things that we did even last year that we need to go back and do. So Carrie, you are a rock star. You have rock star systems, time management. I can tell you're learning as you go. A lot of what you're doing, right, is you're inventing, you're creating, you're pivoting, you're learning. And I know just I talked to Alyssa shortly yesterday. She was like, trying to figure out pods and where to put people. So I know like you're even thinking ahead, like as my team grows, how do I serve these people, you know, and making sure that I'm doing my best. And so we really commend you and we appreciate your time. Like, thank you so much for sharing so openly today. I wish we had hours upon hours to sit here and chat with you. I have another call at 10 o'clock, so I actually have to get off, but I do want to ask you one last thing.
Sure.
What's your big goal for this year?
I really want to retire my husband. So my goal would be 15-star diamond in my first business center and 5-star diamond in my second business center, because I feel as though that would compensate for his income. Okay. And we could pay off our brand new house this year. And then next year, I'm going to take a picture of him outside of his work waving goodbye like Matt did whenever he retired, because he's out.
I love it. And he wants to do that. Is that something that's like, he's like, I totally would do that, or is he not sure yet?
So he is like, he's not the man that can't work, you know, but he said, you know, the business that he's in, he works late hours, Braden's going to school. And so I told him, start thinking about what you actually want to do. Like, get out of the restaurant industry. Like, what do you want to do for your life? You know? So we'll decide. So
cool. I love it. And the ability to think in that way, to say, what do you want to do, babe? Like, the sky's the limit. What do you want to create? What's your dream for your life? Like, that is so cool. He encouraged you to make this choice, encouraged you to go for it. He told you to go crush it and told you he was proud of you, and look at how this is all, it's like so cool. So we are all cheering for you. We're so proud of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our Rising Stars call today. So if there's anything that we can do for you, or that I can do for you, or any one of us, please ask, because you've just served us so well, and we'd be happy to repay the favor any way that we can. So thank you.
Okay, no problem. You're welcome. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, guys. I will see you next week. Take care, everybody.